Hey, it's Mosley. It's the Mosley Show. And we're live. Join us throughout the day. Come in whenever. You can watch us later. I like having you live, though. Come in. Uh, Everything's safe here. It's a safe space. Baylor fans. I told I told Scotty, I tried to tell Scotty Swingler, who's back after fighting a major situation, fighting some illness Friday, but he came rolling back Saturday for the Green and Gold game day. And we have some new technology. He was in like some kind of satellite truck. I barely could get him out there to the set. The man, once he had the ability to sit in there like an old school a wide world of sports, ABC, like a young Roone Arledge. He was back there kind of in the satellite truck doing some things. We could hardly get Scotty out to the set, but he did emerge. The one way we could bring him out the other day from the log cabin village in the shadows of Texas Christian University was we showed up with some breakfast tacos. He did not want to come out and say hello to the show host, but he would once we had some breakfast tacos on the scene. There came Scotty Swingler out for a visit. And Scotty, I certainly noticed that. I think that was Fuzzies who showed up, courtesy of Corey Dickman. So that was good to have some tacos. And then, so that was a good part of the day. The bad part of the day was the rest. Nearly 6 hours of rain delays, bad football, bad defensive football, turnovers, and the Bears lose 42-36 to TCU. Most of you who would be watching this show know it. They watched it. Some of you were there. Kudos to the Baylor fans who stayed to the bitter end. All right, because there was rain to start. Then there were way too many delays. And by the end of that game, and I do have to, I was a little bit, I had to laugh though, Scotty, because my old radio cohort, Brian Estridge, I heard him on the radio late in the game. Basically, it was like kind of wondering why Dave Aranda was calling timeouts. All right, with like 4 or 5 minutes to go in the game, Aranda was burning all his timeouts to try to get his team a chance to get back in the game. And lo and behold, after a scoop and score and a couple of onside kicks, the Bears had the ball at midfield, down 42-36, with Sawyer lining up to try to throw. And unfortunately, they were not able to complete the comeback. But I did love the fact that the voice of the TCU Horned Frogs was really sort of doubting, why would Aranda be wasting our time with these timeouts with the game 42-21? Well, because the Bears still had a chance. The Bears had a chance. And to the credit of whoever was sitting next to him, the guy said, well, this Baylor team is explosive and these games are never over anymore. And so he's given his team every chance to come back. Now, in the end, they couldn't do it. And Scotty Swingler, how many times have we watched this Baylor team, even this year, and then dating back to the frantic comeback? Oh my gosh, we're 2 or 3 touchdowns down. Let's see. Let's throw some haymakers and do some things late. And they do, and then they fall short. And occasionally they come back and win those games. They did it against K-State. They had a great comeback against SMU and then won in overtime. All right. So there are times when they come back and win these games. They were not going to overcome the 3-score deficit that they had against TCU the other day. But they gave it a heck of a try. They gave it a try. But this is not a show where we're going to come on here and we're going to like try to go, well, hey, good fight. Good fight. The other thing, Scotty, that I think we got to put a moratorium on, and hey, this again, Baylor fans, come in here. In the second hour, we'll do more Cowboys. All right. Scotty's got a lot of good Campus Confidential. We'll hit that around 2:30 today, or 1:30, excuse me. And then in the 2 o'clock hour, we'll get way into Cowboys, and then we'll let you hear the back and forth I had with Jerry Jones. the Mosley investigation into what exactly happened with Trayvon Diggs. And this is exclusive. I haven't shared this anywhere. I haven't shared this on the Doomsday podcast that we do here, the syndicated show I do that you guys don't know about. I haven't shared this anywhere, but we're going to reserve this for the live YouTube version of the Mosley show. And Scotty, using the magic that he has, Scotty has gone and he's kind of doctored this up to make it sound even cleaner. The Mosley and Jerry back and forth. We'll do that at about 10 after 2 o'clock today, about 2:10. And then it'll be a sprint to the finish. All right. And then we'll say goodnight. Then we'll have to say goodbye. All right. This is not this YouTube show goes as long as we need it to go. But this is a show that, like the other day, Scotty, I thought our Green and Gold game day, despite some technical difficulties, I thought we came out the other day and it was a lot of big time information that we were sharing. So we were appreciative to have, and we appreciated the log cabin village where we were. And good to see all our Rogue Media partners. John Valade and his family were on the scene. Young Andrew Valade has been working on the program. Corey was there. Kevin Hall, of course, Scotty Swingler. Good group that came out the other day that was a part of that as we did the show from basically just kind of like a protected wooded area with like some old time cabins and candle making and all kinds of stuff. Okay. So we were happy to do it. Good to see Faith Lynch and her family. But I wish my parents would show up as much as Faith's parents do. Scotty, I haven't seen, I'm sure your parents come to games, but I have not seen them on the scene. But Faith's family, my gosh, they're like always on the scene. We need our family's support. In fact, I saw some of Scotty's extended family members over at another tailgate recently. But anyway, here we roll with the Mosley Show. Everybody's trying to be a part of the Mosley Show. I had a long talk with a local wealth manager. They're like, how do we get involved? And I said, hey, here's how you do it. We'll get you all the information you possibly could need on how to support, how to partner with the Mosley Show. Thank you, Central National Bank. Thank you, Brian Fonville. Thank you, Nesbitt family. Thank you for what you do. And thank you to Ascension Providence. And I've really enjoyed, Scotty's done some really cool interviews with the doctors, and Scotty's mainly using this to get help with all his maladies and ankle injuries. And when he turns his ankle, what do they need to do? I heard one of the ankle specialists, ankle and bone and foot specialists, the other day he had on with Ascension Providence. So we're excited to have all these great supporters. And of course, on Thursdays, we do our Schmaltz's trivia question. And then we have Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep. That's a really fun one that we do. And I'll be telling you more about the incredible deals you can get. Those Dodge, those trucks are unbelievable. Those 1,500, and then some of the deals they have. Thank you, Ted T. Thank you. And of course, we're now able, unlike radio, we can now show you all these gorgeous trucks and talk to them about. Like the other day, the GM at Alan Samuels calls me, Scotty, and he's like, I miss you, Mosley. I miss hearing you. And I'm just like, hey, this is better. You can hear me. You can not only hear me, you can see me. You can see old Mosley as we do the show. Now, Scotty, you saw the other day, you saw me put out this tweet. And I've had time to think about like how I should handle this. Should this young man, should I get after him? Should he be in trouble for this? Should I praise him for being enterprising? I don't know exactly what the punishment would be. I don't know if I should tell who does he report to? He's just a Baylor student, I think. Should I tell the members of Pi Kappa Alpha, the Pikes? I don't know. Part of me is kind of impressed that a kid would try to pull this off. And now, Scotty, you've probably done some research, and we don't want to put this kid's picture up. I'm not like going to treat this guy like a wanted poster. But now you may, Scotty, you've done a little investigation. You may know about a little bit more about this young man. But here's what happened the other day. I do the pregame. I'm racing over to be over at the press box. It's raining. I got to find the parking. I got to get over. There's traffic, but I was doing okay. And then somebody's trying to call me, and it was not a number I knew. And usually I would not take the call. I'm glad I did. It's somebody. It's the TCU head of the football PR, their SID. I believe his name is like Kyle Neves. Nice guy, very nice guy. He calls me and he goes, "There's someone over here saying they're supposed to replace you. They're supposed to use your credential today." Well, of course, I'm trying to make my way across campus to get my credential to get in the press box. And I'm like, I don't know what this is. I'm like, who is it? And they say his name is Alex. I won't give his full name here, but his name is Alex. And they give me the name. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know who that is. And, I feel the need to remind Kyle of like my credentials, Scotty. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, look at me, I'm Matt Mosley. But I'm like, no, I'm trying to come over here and cover this game. I've been doing blah, 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 blah. I cover this and this and this. So at some point, they've had to involve, this young man is at the place where you get your credential, trying to grab my credential to get up in the press box. And they have to get Baylor SID involved. And the Baylor SID texts this young man, is basically like, Mosley, we've reached out to Matt Mosley. He doesn't know who you are. And if you want to get into this game, go buy a ticket. So thanks. I appreciate Brent Ingram and Max Calderon, who, by the way, I've alienated these guys plenty recently. So maybe there's probably part of them was like, yeah, give them Mosley's credential. But anyway, I like these people a lot. And so they had my back. And then the TCU thought to call. Thank goodness they just didn't give this guy my credential. And then they turned the guy away. So, Scotty, again, part of me is kind of thinks it's funny. And like, but it's also kind of weird. Like there's an actual young man who appears to be a Baylor student who tried to grab my credential to get up into the press box. And I thought, well, does he work for the Lariat? Do they know him? And Jackson Posey, who was up there representing the Lariat, who's a friend of the show and a friend of Scotty's, I said to Jackson, I'm like, because my seat was next to Jackson in the press box. I said, do you know this kid? And of course, Jackson looked him up and found that he was just he's a regular Baylor student. Scotty, have you done some research? This young man, does he appear just to be a, 19, 20-year-old Baylor student who was trying to grab my credential the other day, from what you can tell?
I know nothing about this young man.
Did he pop up when you did a little search for him, when I gave you his name?
I haven't investigated that deeply yet.
The Scotty investigation has not really gotten off to the ground. Scotty, you do not sound like yourself, by the way. You're something about you're echoey, and it's not that wonderful sound I've come to expect when you're in that beautiful studio over there at Rogue Media. It's okay. It's certainly enough that I can hear you fine, but I'm just letting you know it's not the melodious Scotty Swingler sound that I'm used to. It's a little bit of a echoey, cavernous type deal. But anyway, that's okay. Honestly, it might sound fine. I'm probably being too sensitive, but So, but Jackson launched the investigation. The young man, and again, I'm not going to give his full name, but apparently, when I was hearing I think he threw down some names to try to get him in. I think he may have used Lori Fogelman's name, who's like a longtime Baylor, communications person and a friend of mine. I think he tried to give Lori Fogelman's name. I mean, again, good try. Good try. Now, again, people knew enough about this to throw up the roadblock and not let the young man in. But Alex, we're on to you. He does appear to be a member of Pi Kappa Alpha. That's who we call the Pikes. I didn't even know we still had the Pikes on campus. Scotty, I don't know how much interaction Scotty had with the Pikes. I don't know. Scotty strikes me as a guy that would have made a good. I mean, because Scotty? What's the Christian fraternity? It's the Phi Chi's. Scotty would have been because Scotty is a religious man who spent some time in the ministry. Scotty would have been a perfect Phi Chi, and they had a lot of ability back in my day on the Sing and Pigskin stage. And I think Scotty would have loved being a part of all that. Matt, Scotty, did you give that some thought when you were walking the Baylor campus?
That's twice in about a week that you've absolutely pegged me and my personality. I'm a little distraught. I was not in a fraternity.
Okay.
Is my mic on now, by the way?
You sound a lot better. Yes.
All right, great.
Yeah.
I was not in a frat. The only one I even went to any kind of interest potential rush events was Phi Chi.
Oh, okay.
And one of the primary reasons was, don't go looking up my name on Spotify, but you might find a couple of tunes. And I was really interested in singing with them because they win best vocal just about every single year at Sing.
Yeah. Once the Fijis cycled through our back-to-back titles during my time there. And once we ran out of Les Mis songs, I think it's enough time's gone by they could go back and do some Les Mis. Also, Newsies. That's a good musical. Scotty, you would have been great on stage. That you totally should have. Phi Chi, I think Phi Chi's good. I think you would have been. Now you would have made a great Fiji, but by the time you were there, I think we had gotten into the party scene. When I was on campus in the 90s, we had a great mix. We had the party boys, and then we had the milk and cookie boys like I was. We had a great mix of guys. And then we had dudes who could flat out sing. Oh, my. And the KOTs were awesome. You could have been a good KOT too, Scotty. I could see you maybe having a little dip, maybe at least experimenting with a cigarette here or there. Back in the day, they loved a good cigarette in that fraternity. But, yeah, you could have done that. You could have pulled off KOT. But yes, okay, Scotty, I'll stop bringing up what you should have been. Scotty had a fine Baylor career. He just chose not to be a part of the Greek community. And you know what? You can still have a tremendous Baylor experience, even although Craig Cherry of Cherry Johnson, Siegmund, and James, Craig was an SAE. Scott James was a Fiji with me. I don't know about Johnson, Siegmund. I don't know exactly what they were. All right. Well, that was the rollicking start that I was seeking for this show today. And I think it's fine. And Scotty, I think here's the thing. I'm not mad at the kid who tried to take my credential, but I think he should have to come explain it to me in person. And I'm not going to be like angry or mean. I think some people at times, I think for the most part, I'm pretty approachable and pretty easygoing. I don't think anybody's ever can report like having a really bad experience approaching me. So I think the young man named Alex, that's a young Pike at Baylor, should have to approach me and explain himself. Like what led to him trying to use my name and grab my credential at a game in Fort Worth that wasn't even in Waco. He came to Fort Worth and tried to snake my credential to a game. Now, that was more fun and interesting than the actual game, which had multiple delays. Now, Scotty, I'm interested in sharing this with you today. Like Dave Aranda, and we have some of it if we want to play it. Dave Aranda comes out today and said that the first 25 to 28 plays of the game, that was the best Baylor's played all year. That was it. Now, unfortunately, I was dealing with all this media stuff and trying to get parked after our TV, KWTX, and our pregame show. I was trying to get over there, so I missed some of what apparently was some of the best plays of the year. Now, I will say I was surprised to get to my seat with about 8 to 9 minutes left, about 7 minutes left in the first quarter. I get in with the press box, and it is scoreless. It is 0-0. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? What's happening? And by the way, did the Bears strike first in this game? Maybe. I mean, they did. The Bears were fine. They were moving the ball. They get in. Of course, TCU answered immediately, and then the stuff started where the Bears spotted them. Bears just hand them. I thought the defense actually in the first half played okay. We killed this Baylor defense, and I think for good reason. They got no pass rush. They never hit the quarterback. They never get takeaways. There's so much that they never do. I mean, this is not a good defense. This is one of the worst Power 4 defenses, if not the worst, in the land. Scotty, I'll give you 5 seconds to come up with a worse defense in Power 4, in P4 football. Is there one?
No.
Is Rutgers having a particularly bad season? Probably so. Is there one team you could come up with off the top of your head and go, this is a worse defense than Baylor? Power 4 team.
Maybe North Carolina?
A UNC. Maybe Virginia Tech. I don't know. All these teams that fired their coaches have gotten better. Have you noticed this?
Yes.
It's like you fire your coach, UCLA fired Rashawn Foster or whatever his name was, and it's like, boom, they win every game now. They've won 3 straight games. They fired the Arkansas coach. That team's playing its rear off. They got beat 45-42 by the number 3 team in the country, the Ags. They got beat by Tennessee 34-31 with Bobby Petrino as their interim head coach.
Mose. UAB.
Won a game, didn't they? Did they beat Memphis the other day?
Beat Memphis. Mort's son. First ever game as a head coach.
Alex Mortensen. Just bring him straight to – I'm not going to say that. Oh, my gosh. But, the people – I have people reaching out to me right now after that Baylor loss. It's bad. By the way, they've lost 5 of 6 against TCU. All right? The only way you get away, you can deal with constantly losing to your biggest rival is if you win all your other games, which, by the way, is not happening. Kirby Smart is not good against Alabama. But if you mix in a national title every now and then, you sort of are okay, right? If you win almost every one of your other games and you just lose to Alabama, you can probably survive. Now, the Bears lose almost every year to TCU. They've lost 5 out of the last 6. And I would say, Scotty, and we'll get into later in the program, we can get into the ebb and flow of this game. I think, unfortunately, Sawyer has played his way, and he's had a great season. He still put up tremendous numbers, and he kept fighting to the bitter end. He threw a gorgeous touchdown. Cole Wilson jumped up, caught that touchdown. I mean, let's not act like that, Sawyer didn't have really good moments in that game, but I looked up at one point, and he was like 15 for 35 or something. He threw 3 interceptions in this game. He was not accurate. He was low. Now, were guys dropping balls? Yes, they were. This was not – Michael Trigg followed up that unbelievable game with not one of his best games. And so there were drops along the way, but Sawyer was not particularly good. By his standards, Sawyer was not good in this game. All right? Now, Sawyer they brought out whoever they brought out, Josh Cameron, Kyler Jordan after the game. That's part of the deal, man. Sawyer's going to have an opportunity to go play in the NFL. When he plays poorly, you got to send, he needed to be out there. He is the greatest. They have some captain. Keaton Thomas is a great leader on this team. Josh Cameron, Sawyer is a tremendous leader on this team. And by the way, this is not the SID's fault. I think Dave handles everything, and Dave decides who to send out there. But Sawyer needs to be at the podium after that game the other day. He's the face of the team. He's the best player on the team. Sawyer, if he plays great, yes, have him out there. If he plays poorly, yes, have him out there. So I think the fan base wants to hear from Sawyer after a game like that. So he played poorly. All right. They needed him to be really good because, week to week, the defense is not going to step up and play. And the defense, honestly, they handed TCU a touchdown. I'm talking about the offense, gave TCU a touchdown. So at the half, when it was 21-10, I think it was, the defense had only given up 2 touchdowns. Your offense has to be good enough. And you go, well, Matt, it was raining. It was kind of messy. Well, it was that way for both teams, right? You're still got to be out there and function. And the running game is not what it needs to be. Now, you've got Bryson fumbling, horrible fumble. And then at some point in that game, they just get him out of the game altogether. And they got Caden Knight and they've got who's Michael? What Scotty? What's the guy from North Richland Hills? Michael
Turner.
Love him. Runs hard. So I thought that kid played well. But too many games like this. Okay, so the final score is 42-36. They were in the game as they scored with 30 seconds left. They got this crazy. So, yes, that was a nice comeback and all of that. For the most part, for the better part of that game, they were not really in the game. All right? And nobody wants to, after these games, let me tell you what's getting tiresome. These guys love each other. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of pain. It's not good enough, whatever. No Baylor fan. Okay, I get it. I got people reaching out to me, Scotty. Well, it's going to make a change. Not going to play. They didn't make a change when they were 3-9. They're 4-3. You think they're going to fire their coach when they lose after a TCU loss and they're 4-3? No. Now, if they lose out or they don't make a bowl game, then we'll have another talk. All right, and maybe, but again, there's people like Scotty Swingler that are going to be making the counter argument, and you won't hear this from me, but it's a fair argument to be made, and I'm okay with people that want to make this argument. I'm not going to get mad at them. But see, Scotty, Scotty, I don't want to put words in your mouth, okay? But you're not, you're not the biggest Aranda guy in the world. It's not like you're out there defending him today. It's not like Saturday after the game, you were on Twitter trying to defend Dave Aranda, okay? I'm not breaking news there. But what you do recognize is Baylor has put a really nice 2026 recruiting class together, which is influenced, heavily impacted by local players. London Smith's one of them from, they just have a lot of local kids.
London Smith at Waco University, Jamarian Vincent at Connolly.
Yes.
And Jamarian Carlton at Temple, who's a top 5 recruit Baylor has ever had. If he signs, he will be a top 5 signee ever.
Yeah.
In the history of the school.
So I get it. And then the rest of it looks pretty nice. They I would say in the quarterback, Scotty and others very excited about it. I mean, I think he threw 20 touchdowns in that game the other night. No, I think he threw 6. but Quinn Murphy, there's some excitement around that. And you just don't know if you fire Dave Aranda, how much of that class you'll hold together. And love him, hate him, whatever.
Matt,
he does seem to connect with these families and some of these recruits. So, the bottom line is, if you want to keep this class together, you desperately need Baylor to finish strong, win about 7 or 8 games. And is that finishing strong? Whatever. I guess it would be at this point. But what were you going to say, Scotty?
Just to throw a little water on this, because I have been the one to say, let's give Dave credit for not just the 26 class, but this 27 class is already shaping up well also. However, I read a stat today that really bothered me. There have been 0 players recruited out of high school by Dave Aranda to Baylor to have been drafted in the NFL draft. And we're in year 6. That's not good. like that's not good. And I think the recruiting classes really credit Dave and matter. And I think there's some questions about talent retention, talent development. And frankly, I don't know. I'd be asking some of these Jamarian Carlton, probably first and foremost at Temple, if Baylor wins 6 games, are you checked out? I don't know how, I don't know these kids. I don't know where their head's at, why they committed to Baylor. But if you lose half this class, because let's just be honest, Matt, let's just follow what's happening right now to its conclusion. Dave Aranda in that first minute of his press conference sounded like he was already preparing us to lose Saturday, telling us that, this is the best team we faced all year. I don't think the way that Baylor is set up right now, we're going to be favored against Utah or Houston.
Well,
you're looking at 6 or 7. You're looking at 6 or 7 wins. You are.
Yeah, and unfortunately for him, the reason the money's still a problem.
Yeah,
the money is still a problem because if his deal is through, what have we heard? 2029 or
29 is correct.
If that is accurate, and they don't announce Baylor because they're private school, we don't know those numbers. The problem so that's a problem. That the reason he was not fired after 3 and 9 or twofold. The money, they didn't really want to pony up and pay him not to work this huge amount of money, and he convinced everybody they really thought they had some great young defensive backs that we're supposed to be seeing right now, right? We're not talking about transfer portal people, right? We're talking about Caden Jenkins was one of those. I can convince some of these guys not to leave. Well, a year later, Corey Gordon Jr. left anyway, went to Louisville. And again, I'm not even saying he was one of the guys. Maybe
he was.
Maybe Devin Bobby was one of the ones. Maybe Tevin was one of the ones who's obviously been out this year. He did, but that was a big part. Now, the problem for Dave this time around is, Scotty, there's nobody on defense. There's no young players playing well enough or projected to be great enough that you would say, we need Dave. We need to keep Dave to retain some of these players. Let me finish this. Let me tell you one guy that got burned the other day like crazy, and I hope he ends up being a good player. But they're going after the young Williford, right? You got Reggie Bush Jr. racing in there on blitzes, and you got who is it? Trey Turner. You got somebody. You got number. These guys are not. These guys are not playing well on the back end of that defense. So, I don't know. The only guys I would point to who you go, hey, Dave can make sure these guys stay, would be people like Burns or Winston and some of those guys, number 32, number 41. I'm just trying to help people that may or not know those names completely. The guys that Burns was, or Winston had some rough plays the other day. They don't have player. And to your point, like, I have a hard time spotting any players on that team right now, especially on that defense. Now you could say Cameron, Sawyer, you maybe even Abedian. You could point to a few players on the offense who may have NFL futures. Okay, you could do that with a few players. You can't. It's hard to do that on defense right now. So to your point, yeah, he's not producing. It is not appearing like he's producing any NFL players.
Well, and you named one of them. There's two young guys right now, Caleb Burns and Cameron Morgan, true freshmen. Those guys are supposed to be like, 4-star talent. But I mean, I just at some point, Matt, the question is, are you reaching potential with the talent that you have on the roster? I think the answer to that thus far this season is no. Baylor is not. And if we're talking about the lack of playmakers on the defensive side of the ball, yes, the 2 impact linebacker transfers are out for the season with injury. That stinks. Yes, the big safety transfer you got in that was supposed to start out before the season even began.
Devin Turner
from Northwestern. Tragic. Like, those are big hits. But the rest of the lack of playmaking on the defensive side of the ball is, at some point, it's like, well, Dave doesn't have the talent over there. Well, whose job is it to fill out this roster? Mm-hmm. It's the staff's job, but ultimately, Dave makes those calls on what kind of player, what kind of athlete he needs in his defense. And I've said it for 3 weeks now, Matt. Dave, the head coach, given his track record at Baylor, I think Sunday would have fired Dave, the defensive coordinator, because the performance has not been good and the talent on that side of the ball has not performed.
No. And I do think we think some of the additions with the associate head coach, running backs coach, some of the things they've done there on the staff, in they have brought in some exciting, they're seemingly like they're going to bring in some exciting players, but that's not. We see these teams get ahead of these firings earlier and earlier because they want to get ahead of it. And then they want to sell their current players that they want to keep, right, on what the future is, and they want to make a decision. Now, we saw Florida State, by the way, come out today and make a statement and kind of take the opposite way. We're going to evaluate everything at the end of the season and then see where this thing heads. That, to me, feels way more like what Baylor is going to do, is wait and evaluate everything. But here's where the fans are going to start speaking. Okay. And they already have, because you saw how many people left that last game and what the crowd was and all that kind of stuff. Like, even with, we don't even know what the game time is for homecoming. Typically,
they haven't announced it yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. It's one of those several games that they don't have an announcement yet. So I'm talking about the UCF game. Generally, you can count on homecoming just because everybody's coming back, and that's what you do is go to the game. I think things are bad enough right now that you have a lot of people go to the parade and just go eat, go get something to, go to the bar, go to George's, go do whatever, and not even go to the game. And so I'm already hearing people talk about the Houston game, like what they think that crowd could look like. And that's where this thing gets like where it's not sustainable. If you have the fans, like nobody showing up. And I'm afraid it's trending in that direction, and it's a shame. And there's no, the fans have never totally connected with Dave, because it's hard to connect unless you're winning big, which they have only done one season with David, the head coach. And I know we can say he had rules players, and that's accurate. But he has such a lack of fire and such a almost a when you watch an Aranda news conference like I did today, and we could share a couple of minutes with you at some point, but it's almost it all. And again, I think he's probably a guy who doesn't really care what the outside is saying, and some of that's good. Some of that probably allows him to do what he does. But from what the fan base sees, and again, he has zero interest in doing media outside of that where he could show his personality. He did a random thing with Dallas area radio last week out of the blue. I don't know if they asked for him. I don't even know how that was arranged, but he did it. He has sworn off all local media. So he has no interest in sitting down with Smokey or me. And even though, I mean, what are we going to do? Grill him and hurt him or make him look bad? No, neither one of us are like that. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't ask tough questions, but that's not my MO to try to like do a gotcha and make him look really bad. Would I ask him tough questions today following that performance? Certainly. But he doesn't, he and Baylor has bent over backwards to let him be in his dark room and not have to do any media. And boy, they have had to coddle him and give him everything he wants. And so today when he goes out and faces the media, and I watch every one of them, and sometimes, I like to be there for some of that stuff, but it's a depressing thing to watch. It's a whispery, sad, and then to Scotty's point, then it transitions into a, hey man, we're about to play Cincinnati. This is the best team we've played, and it's not really even close. Oh, okay. So you played Arizona State, the team that just beat a top 10 team in the country, Texas Tech. You played SMU. You played TCU. You played Auburn, who's ended up, by the way, that loss looks even worse because Auburn can't get a win and is 0-4 in the SEC. But now we're supposed to believe that it's not even that close. That Cincinnati is so clearly better than all these other teams. And so now the Bears will go on the road and try to take down a Cincinnati team that now this feels like almost an impossible task. So if this Bears team falls to this great Cincinnati team and they're 4-4, then we're right back to where we were last season. And it does at that point with 8 games in the books and only 4 left. I don't even know if like running the table makes everybody feel that great. It's like, I think if they did, the feeling would almost be like, is this what it is every year? Like y'all just flop around for most of the season at 500, and then you finally turn it on or you finally find something. And the truth of the matter is, I don't think they're good enough on either side of the ball to put together a 4-game run. Let's say they go to 4-4, or heaven forbid a 5-game run to finish out 5-0. It just doesn't even seem possible. The offense, they can't run the ball. They don't block. They're not that great up front. They got one really good offensive lineman, got a pretty good center. The rest of them, they can't block. They can't run the ball. They're bad on defense. They don't have guys that can hold up front. I mean, Scotty, think about like all our talks at the game the other night, at the pregame show the other day. It was literally about, we got to get to Campus Confidential at some point here, but it was literally about, like, hey, this team, think about, I mean, I'm even thinking about some of the stuff I was reading going into this game. Well, TCU can't run the ball. TCU can't run the ball, so you don't have to worry about it. Scotty, tell them what we've won. TCU ran for like 170 yards in that game, and they had jailbreak runs. It's like, let's go in for a break. Let's talk for an hour about what we need to do when we come out, and the first play, Boom, up the middle for a touchdown. Boom, 55-yard touchdown. Nobody's there. Nobody's ever touched. Oh, Dave, what happened? Well, safety was supposed to come straight forward, and the safety saw a guy trying to crack back, and the linebacker was supposed to try to push him one way, and the linebacker. Nobody cares. Seriously, nobody cares anymore. The safety did not come straight. The safety, everything was set up beautifully. Everybody was coached up beautifully, yet no one touched him. I think there might have been almost like a chance for an arm tackle. Maybe a guy actually did touch him at one point on a 55-yard run. And I thought to myself watching that game the other day, Scotty, I thought, dang, I thought they didn't have running backs. I thought this team didn't have running backs. They got the guy with the dreads who runs over people. That may be number 4. Then they throw another guy in there with speed. That's Kabori and somebody. And then they got one more guy. Their third string running back was the guy who took it to the house. That might have been his first carry of the game. I can't remember. He might have been number 23 or something. Boom, he's gone. Okay, buddy, we hadn't played you in a few weeks. Let's get in there. Because against this defense, we can just all go out and just run in the tulips. You're going to have the time of your life. Get out there and get a run in. Boom, 55-yard touchdown for that kid. Oh, but TCU can't run the ball. Anybody can run the ball against this team. I mean, it really does not matter. You need to start every game, and when they play Cincinnati, just hand them about 170 yards rushing. Just start the day with that, because that's what you're going to have. So anyway, we're going to continue to talk about this stuff, but it is part of it just gets old because it's same thing week after week, and this does not look like a team that's about to run it off and get to 8 wins or something like that. It almost seems impossible, and I know I was saying that at around this time last year. And so who knows, maybe they'll find a way, but it's got to start immediately, and help is not on the way. There's like nobody. Who are you getting back? Nope, nobody. There's nobody. I mean, I'm glad they threw it to Jaden Porter. I mean, that was fun. He had a touchdown in that game the other day, had a nice little dance that he did. All right, Scotty, let's get into some Campus Confidential. Let's run through some of the things. And then, of course, in hour 2, we got to do some Dallas Cowboys, because the Cowboys actually went out and got a win. The Cowboys are 3-3-1. My gosh, they're second place in the NFC East. This is unreal. We'll do some Campus Confidential, though. We'll do it next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Drive in the fall at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Huge savings and the best selection in Central Texas. From powerful Ram trucks, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, to adventure-ready Jeeps and stylish new Dodges, we've got the right ride for you. Upgrading, downsizing, or buying your very first vehicle, Allen Samuels has you covered with friendly service and deals that make driving fun. Don't miss the Drive in the Fall event, only at Allen Samuels.
Come by, let's be friends.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we didn't know exactly what that partnership would look like.
What brings you into the bank today?
For the last couple of months, I've been noticing a charge on my account, and I would like to block it.
I see. So you have a charge?
Yes.
And you'd like to block it?
Yes.
I think you should take the charge.
What?
Yeah, I definitely think you should take the charge.
I don't think you understand.
Sometimes you just have to take one for the team.
Is there a manager available?
We love that Coach Colin is all about the team. Once we get the vocabulary down, the sky's the limit.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor women's basketball.
I have Mac Rhodes, director of Baylor Athletics, on the phone. Mac, can you tell Peggy why she should take the charge?
Of course she should take the charge. Wait, are you at the bank again? And who is Peggy?
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Mosley to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code MOSLEY. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play-and-get-terms_DFS_HTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
All right, it's Mosley Show, and thank you, Underdog, and thank you, Central National Bank, our presenting sponsor here on the Mosley Show, as we continue, and all our great partners. We did the Doomsday podcast last night. That's a Rogue. That's a proud Rogue property, or that is a great partnership with our Doomsday podcast. And so we did that. And so I have some stuff with Jerry that we'll let you hear soon. And then, but man, I do want to do a quick, and this can be Baylor, and it can always be around the country. We had some upsets. We had a lot of movement in that top 10. We had some interesting results in the Big 12. This is whatever direction Scotty Swingler wants to take it. I went a long time on Baylor to start the show today. I think that was appropriate, but we'll take care of our folks moving forward here. But Scotty, what do you have for us in terms of Campus Confidential?
Lots of big stories in college football, Matt. Let me start with this one, and this one broke about 30 minutes before we went live today. Sam Conn Jr., first person to report. Texas Tech AD Kirby Hocutt announced they will no longer encourage or permit tortillas to be thrown at the opening kickoff of home games. This is a adjustment, Matt, from last week, right? So again, just to recap for folks that aren't familiar, this is Texas Tech's home football tradition. The rule was imposed in the offseason that the first time tortillas were thrown, it was a warning, and subsequent times after that, there would be a penalty. Well, then we had this big thing a couple weekends ago with Coach Lance Leipold in Kansas because there were lots of tortillas thrown. There were some penalties enforced. Coach McGuire said, man, we can't have the penalties. Seemed like Hocutt last week was doubling down on, hey, like, let's get it together after that opening kickoff. Don't throw any. But now I think to curb any possibility of any coming down after the kickoff, they're eliminating the tradition altogether. As David Ubben tweeted, this is a horrible day for college athletics.
It's not. Nobody cares. No, other than the Tech people, like no other fan base are like good. Stop throwing stupid tortillas all the time. A terrible day for college. I think Ubben's probably being funny and being sarcastic.
No, I get it, man. I get it. There is nothing in American sports like the unique, quirky traditions that come with college football, from cowbells at Mississippi State to the Baylor line here in Waco. I can understand why this doesn't just bother Tech people. I think this bothers people that like the ethos, the quirkiness of college football. I get it. I'm a little bummed about it as well, if I can be perfectly honest with you.
Say that word again.
Which word?
ETHOS.
Ethos?
Okay. Maybe so. I would say that it was fine. Maybe it's run its course. I thought they had figured out a way to address it and let them just do the kickoff. But my bigger thing is, imagine losing a huge game and you lose to Arizona State. You have a chance to go maybe about as high as Tech has ever been in the country. They had a great comeback in that game, but they end up losing the game. And on the Monday afterwards, you got your AD with you and you're having to address tortillas. I mean, just think about if today Mac had to be with Dave Aranda addressing what you just brought up, like the Baylor line. Like we can't run the Baylor line anymore. And that would be awful. That would be awful. But hey, our thoughts go out to the Red Raiders. Now, if you think that they're not going to throw the tortillas to start the game, then you've never met a Tech fan. All right. And right now the rule is they could, I think the first one is just a warning. So it's interesting that Tech has decided to go this direction. But the crackdown on tortillas in Lubbock after the biggest loss. Oh, by the way, Scotty, does the Big 12 title still go through Lubbock, even though they lost to Arizona State the other day? Does it still go through there?
It would happen right after, right after that article came out. And I just think, Matt, like the romantic college football fan in me, the poetic person in me is really glad that they lost to the defending champ, right? If we're going to talk about the road goes through place that's never won a champion in this conference, lose to the that's
what Arizona State should have said on their social media. I don't know if they did or not, but they should have said road still goes through Tempe. That's right. What they should have been saying.
Isn't the old rule in sports is to win the championship, you got to beat the champ?
Yeah.
Well, Tech failed that test, didn't they? They couldn't beat the champ.
But that's all these articles are so dumb because, like, even whoever wrote the one about Texas is the next Alabama, could we wait? Could they do it for more than 2 seasons before we say the University of Texas is the next Alabama? Give me a break. Georgia's way more like the next Alabama. There's like 5. I mean, come on. Give me a break. So that's the thing. We're in a race to have these conversations, right? What's his name's the biggest flop in the history of college athletics. We're in a race to be first to say dumb things. And by the way, Texas had to play for its life to get out of Lexington the other night. And the only reason they got those 2 touchdowns is because they had a return man. They had to win in overtime against a bad Kentucky team with a quarterback named Cutter. I love that kid, by the way. Cutter Foley or something. Cutter. I mean, that is if you're at Kentucky, you should have a kid named Cutter. If I had been Cutter Mosley, there's a lot of things I could have done with that. All right, what else do we have in Campus Confidential?
Oh, man, this was a story I liked. So BYU got a big win in the Holy War. They're undefeated. I feel really good about me slamming a helmet on the table 3 or 4 weeks ago on the Green and Gold show, which Matt made fun of me for. But BYU is atop the Big 12. But, of course, Matt, there was some conversation last week. Dave Portnoy was in Provo for Big Noon Kickoff. They did not do their Barstool Sports pregame show in Provo. Some mixed reporting about why that was. But Dave Portnoy was all over social media raving about Provo, the BYU fans, the environment, all these things we've heard about games there. But, Matt, one of the things Portnoy does that goes like kind of mini viral every time he does it is what? The other thing he's famous for besides sports
review.
Pizza reviews.
Yeah.
Saturday, this post from Nico's Pizza in Provo made me so happy. Due to the tremendous response from familiar faces and new customers over the last week, Nico's Pizza sold out of dough late on Friday night and will be closed on Saturday, October 18th. We look forward to serving you when we open at 11 a.m. Monday, October 20th. Matt, this is because Dave Portnoy went to Nico's and gave it a tremendous review. He told everyone, go to Nico's, and they ran out of pizza dough. Matt, I love these kind of stories for local businesses when big names come in and can get them a weekend like this. This is a cool story to me.
Yeah, I think Shorty's is hoping some of these Waco, like get him there. Did Yormark appear with him? I mean, I know the Big 12 is in love with Barstool. Did they? Did Yormark do the pizza review with him? You should have had Brett right next to him. You remember that that thing they put out, or that report? They said that they would let everything at their disposal with Barstool, the Big 12. That's interesting what you said though about so what did Barstool say about not doing its thing from Provo?
Oh, I saw Portnoy tweeted that they were invited and that the school even offered some additional financial resources if it would help them get there. But they did ask them not to curse in the program.
Yeah.
And Portnoy said it just didn't work out. You know, he said they're only doing 6 games on the road this year.
Okay.
So I mean, you're missing half the locations if that's true. I do wonder, Matt, if BYU really offered to cover the cost and said, but don't curse, if Portnoy just said, yeah, we're not going to be able to do that.
Maybe not.
Because if they're going to pay for you to be there, I would think if you're not losing money, why not? Why not? You know, if Cincinnati came to Corey tomorrow and said, hey, we will fly out Lynch and Mosley to do green and gold game day from the stadium, like, we would do it. Like, you know, so I wonder if it really was just,
they tried
to censor some
maybe
content, and that ain't gonna happen.
I don't think they were able to. They didn't have the resources because they'd spent it on getting Drake Toll out there. Okay, what else do we have, sir? Campus Confidential. I know we need to hit a break here pretty quick.
Yeah, let's do this one. I would love your feedback. So a player that I just don't want to rip college athletes, but a player that I think I've had questions about on the field for a long time made a pretty unwise off the field move after Miami was upset by Louisville on Friday night. Here's what Carson Beck said in response to a reporter about a particular play. I believe it was an interception he threw in Miami's loss to Louisville.
On that last play, that last interception, were you not expecting that defender to be there? They're running that kind of sim pressure and they're popping out at the snap?
I mean, we have a perfect play for it. We had a miscommunication with the route and what we were doing. So, just sort of ran the route wrong, and I went to go throw it because we're hot off of a pressure. And again, he made a good play on it. So, but it definitely didn't help that we ran the wrong play.
Now, Matt, again, I'm not going to just rake the kid over the coals for this, but I don't know. You can tell me if maybe my old school traditional values here are no longer applicable. I thought as a quarterback, your job is not to throw teammates under the bus, even if it's true that it was a perfect play call and the receiver just ran the wrong route, which is what Carson Beck said there. And my example would be, as much as I have asked some questions about Dak Prescott, who's playing outstanding football right now, by the way, Dak would never do this. And I think Patrick Mahomes would never do that. Beck is already wavering on his draft stock. And I wondered when I saw that over the weekend, if some NFL teams don't see him shamelessly throwing a receiver under the bus for an interception, if that's not another kind of mark against him in some people's mind.
You know, where you're right about that to me is if there was like a tie, you know, like if people like Mendoza a lot, but they like a lot of things Beck does, and maybe Beck, but they kind of like both of them. And so then you start breaking it down by intangibles, and that could pop up. Like, hey, Mendoza would never say something like that. I mean, I think we all know if they had sent Sawyer out there the other day and one of those interceptions was caused by a poor route, which happens, that's for the coach to say. Or the way I've worked at in the past is talk to someone within the organization that tells you, and then I can report and go from, the people I've talked to, that was the wrong route or something like that. there are probably ways to get it out there if you don't, but to say it in that setting is not a great look. And so part of me is I'm glad Miami puts its quarterback out there after a loss to be accountable. And part of the downside to that is he might say something that makes him look bad. And I don't think that was a very good look by Beck. So I agree with you there. Will that I don't think it'll have serious impact, but it's kind of like I said to you, if it's close, certainly could be in the huge thing that they put together in researching, and not a great look from Carson Beck. Okay, if you have anything else, Scotty, we'll come back to it, and please feel free to bring it up. But tell you what we need to do. We need to get into, we've had a lot of Baylor talk. We need to get into some Cowboys, and we'll let you hear my conversation with Jerry Jones following the Cowboys' 44-22 win over the Washington Commanders.
Bubble wasn't here. I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
WhyPersonalLoans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit PersonalLoans.com today.
This is what $500,000 in a duffel bag looks like. Actually not real. That's because it's actually prop money. It looks realistic from a distance, but up close you can see it says for motion picture purposes. Visit PropMoney.com today to get your money seen or money shot right with Prop Money Inc.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
It is the Mosley Show with Scotty Swingler, producer, co-host, opinionator. He's an opinionist. All right. I think that's what Colin Cowherd calls himself. I'm an opinionist. So we got lots to share with you today, and we did a ton of Baylor right off. And so if you missed any of that, we'll post everything, and we'll have that full first hour to share with you because the Bears did not get it done in Fort Worth. They've lost 5 of 6 to TCU, and this is becoming a problem. And now they face apparently the best team in the conference. Move over, Arizona State, Texas Tech, the undefeated BYU Cougars. Cincinnati's the best team, according to Dave Aranda. So pack a lunch, man. Pack it all and be ready for those Bearcats. You never know what they might bring. And now that I know how great they are, Scotty, I've recommended that we all catch a flight. We take our beautiful trailer that has all our equipment in it, and we get right over to Cincinnati, Ohio, right there on that Kentucky border. And we do our thing, and we get ready to do some pregame. Scotty, I'll be doing pregame from right this view you have of me right now. Just get used to it, man. This is really where I feel the most comfortable, and I can really share the most late breaking information as we get going. Of course, we'll have our Green and Gold Game Day show for you, and that'll be leading up to kickoff, and lots to be excited about. We'll see. The Bears have, how many games does Dave Aranda have left? Right now they're 4-3. They got 5 games left this season. Bears do not seem like some of these other teams who just kind of go ahead and, get the firings over with. And that is what Florida has done with Billy Napier. It looks like things are going the wrong direction for Auburn. And it honestly looks like things are going the wrong way for Brian Kelly at LSU as they get ready to host mighty Texas A&M. The number 3 Ags go rolling in there. And then, Scotty, I'm surprised you didn't have your Indiana Hoosiers T-shirt on. Indiana, they just continue to march. I believe they had Michigan State on the schedule. They took care of business. Michigan State was giving them a little trouble early, and then the Hoosiers pulled away, as they always seem to do. And Ohio State and Indiana right up there. Hey, Ohio State, the Big Ten makes a lot of noise. They talk a lot of noise, but right now they're kind of backing it up right there. Number 1 in the country, number 2 in the country. And then the Aggies are slotted in there right at number 3. The old Red Raiders have gone the wrong direction. And they are now out of the top 10, and they're hanging in there at about 12. Scotty Vandy, they are number 10 in the country. They're in the top 10 for the first time since 1941. All right, got to go back to the start of World War II. All right, you remember when that all happened? And there are not a lot of folks around from that time period these days, although my 102-year-old grandmother, who joined us in 1923, she's still out there listening to the Mosley Show on a daily basis, Scotty. So say hello to Frances Lawrence out there as she gathers at the she would have been, when they had the fireside chats with the FDR, she would have been about, 16, 17 years old, and still with us in the year 2025. Now, Cowboys go out there and get this done. And Scotty, you saw it. I should have sent you some of the highlights, because I always love it. I always love the excitement when on the Mosley Show we start showing highlights from these games. But this was a game where for 1 week Matt Eberflus's defense showed up for sacks, fumble calls that they recovered. They knocked Jaden Daniels out of that game. They had the pick six from Deron Bland. I mean, they put pressure. They brought the blitz. They had man coverage. Now, the question I asked Jerry Jones, and I'll let you hear Jerry and I talking here in a minute. You'll love the end of this because Jerry takes a little poke at me. But they don't have Trayvon Diggs in this game. They got somebody out there named Traqueezy something. I mean, they're players. I'm like, who in the world? Who is this guy? Who's number 38? I know this team. I've known this team for generations. Who is number 38? And yet they played pretty well. They played well in coverage. They broke up passes. And the Commanders. Now, then this is where Scotty comes in here and tells us, when they win a game, it's only the Commanders. And the Commanders didn't have any of their receivers. And you know what? He'd be right. They didn't have Deebo Samuel. They didn't have Terry McLaurin. They didn't have somebody named Lane or something. They were missing all their wide receivers. So they had somebody named Robbie Chosen, who used to be named Robbie Anderson. But he had like a spiritual reawakening, and so he changed his last name. He spells Robbie differently than he used to. Now he does IE. And he changed his last name to Chosen, which is kind of a spiritual type thing, like the chosen one. And so he's now Robbie Chosen. He looks the same to me, but he's 32. And then they had some other guy running around. I'm like, I don't know this guy. I don't remember this guy. Apparently he was with somebody for several years, but they did not have a good receiving core. And Ertz is a pretty good player, but he's an aging player. They have a pretty decent tailbacks. They got a hyphenated tailback who interests me, and it's like McCroskey something. He interests me, but for the most part, they did not have their full arsenal. But the Cowboys, you've got to go out and beat who's ever in front of you. Now they got to go face a Denver team that's coming off a miracle comeback against the Giants. This Denver team, I believe, has improved to like 5-2 on the season. Cowboys got to play them there next Sunday, and then they turn around and they have a Monday night game following that. That said, I mean, it's not out of the realm that the Cowboys go and get a road win over Denver and get it to 4-3-1. Eagles hang on against the Vikings, and they go to they improve to 5-2. Cowboys are now second place in the division. The coverage was better. I mean, it led me to ask Jerry, and you'll hear this in a minute, but why didn't they do this before now? Why do they keep saying they were going to have man coverage, and then they played zone? They played man coverage even with backups, and they were so much better. They were so much better. The blitz helped. They actually got some pressure on him. Now, Mariota came in. Washington was not at its best, but still pretty good performance, and the Cowboys' offense was just chef's kiss. Cowboys offense was great. Dak was incredible. He made throw after throw. The deep ball was there. Pickens is incredible right now. CD comes back. They didn't miss a beat. CD has over 100 yards. Javonte Williams in the run game. Javonte Williams ran the ball beautifully. He had over 100 yards. Pickens had 82 yards receiving, including one on a sideline route that was just unreal in the first half. And then at the end of the half, and then he had one that set him up for a touchdown, a 37-yard pass interference penalty that he drew. He's incredible. I mean, right now, I don't know. Are you going to put Higgins, are you going to put the two guys in the Bengals, in the land of the Bengal? Are you going to put them in front of the CD and George Pickens? Maybe. Vikings have good ones. Obviously, all the former LSU receivers that some of these teams have. But I'm just telling you right now, the duo that the Cowboys have with CD and Pickens playing about as well as any duo in the league. They are great. Dak's playing beautifully. Two more touchdown throws to Jake Ferguson. That's become incredible. I mean, the last 4 games, I think he's got 6 touchdown catches. He went like 22 games. He went all of last season without a touchdown, and he's getting touchdowns every single week. He's playing great. He's playing great. Scotty, I wanted to do this. Let's let folks hear, though. This is, and Scotty got this cleaned up where it's got a nice sound to it. But at some point yesterday, and you'll want to hear the end of this because Jerry gives me the business. But this is me. I'm questioning Jerry Jones about some things for about 4 or 5 minutes after the game. Let's let our folks hear this. This is me. This is Jerry and I after yesterday's game, talking that the Cowboys end up winning 44-22.
When you see the man coverage and the blitzing work like it did today, does it make you think, hey, why weren't we committed to this a little more earlier in the season when it was as effective as it was today?
I can always, when something works, you think, well, maybe we should have been trying that before. But I know what we're trying to do defensively. And what I can appreciate about today, and I hope our fans see, is the way we are making changes, the way we're executing, making those changes. And by the way, if you go back and look at that film, you'll see us doing the same things we've been doing the last 4 or 5 weeks, a whole bunch of them, but we're executing them. And they're the same things we've been doing for 4 or 5 weeks, but they executed them today. Now, there were some things we did different, but we were executing some of the very same things, and yet we were hitting the gaps and making the plays defensively.
Okay.
So much for change, yeah. I like the fact that everybody pitched in and got the result today.
They responded well to Diggs being out, which obviously, was a setback. But yeah.
Well, and again, let me be real clear. I don't think there was a response to Diggs being out at all. I think what you saw out there was just guys playing good football, individually being responsible, stepping their game up, not because of Diggs, just stepping their game up because they owe it to everybody to do that. That's what we saw. But you don't, there's no such thing as we're going to show that we can do it without Diggs. Yeah. It's not the case at all. It doesn't work that way. What you saw out there today was guys, whatever the defense that was called, you saw them executing it better. Across the board.
Hey, when something strange like that happens, a guy has an accident at home and it causes a concussion, like you as GM, like do you try to get to the bottom of that quickly? Do you wait for somebody to come to you, like here's what we're hearing from Trayvon? Like how do you handle something like that?
Well, I just, first of all, want to make sure that no rules have been violated that would hurt the person or the team. Things like law enforcement, those kinds of rules like that. Beyond that, these players are in such a spotlight, and the kinds of things that a lot of us have happened to us, knots on our head, bumps on our back, all that kind of stuff. When you're at where these players are, then that's a higher accountability. Okay. To answer your question, no, I don't go looking it up at all. I really don't. I see what is given me, and I'm satisfied with that.
Okay.
And frankly, I'm satisfied what any player tells me until we get to the point where I'm not satisfied with it. But it doesn't. That's not different for a player. That's different for all of our relationships in life.
But is he progressing pretty well in terms of the concussion or whatever he's dealing with, protocols?
I haven't had a doctor's report today at all, but I don't think the nature of his injury was something that will impact us for multiple weeks ahead. I think it could possibly be behind us this week.
Okay. Yeah.
This is not some kind of smoking gun deal here at all. So he's got he had an accident, and I'm good with that, and he'll be back out here playing.
Okay.
And we need him. If he'll join in and play his game the way these guys have adjusted to play their game, we'll be a lot better team with Diggs.
Yeah, and you had to like seeing that pick six today from Duran.
Yes, yeah. But let me just say this: nothing about Diggs and his injury situation right now, or the cause of his injury situation, gives me any concern about his future. Not one bit of it. And future being next week.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where it is. That covers a lot of ground there. The extent of the injury, whether or not there's circumstances, extenuating circumstances that have to be addressed. I don't see anything that I'm familiar with about the injury that keep him from playing starting next week.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Jerry, is Dak the MVP?
Judge, do you have any other questions?
Okay. Oh, yes. Judge, do you have any other questions? That was the end of my back and forth with Jerry yesterday, and I've only been doing that with him going back to 2003. So there have been some, and there's a lot to unpack there. And I can kind of shed some light on what I think's going on with Trayvon Diggs. Let me tell you, he's missed 22 games the past 3 years. He seems to be a guy that is kind of always in a foul mood. He's great at times. He's mercurial. He does not seem particularly pleased, and he lost his best friend on the team. Mike has gone elsewhere, so it's not a given. That deal they did with him in recent years with Trayvon Diggs was for about $90 million, all told, 90-something million dollars. There is a chance they move on from him after this season. But Jerry wants to get everything he can out of him now. Would he trade him? I don't know. I don't know how much you could get for him right now. He's hurt a lot. He's got weird stuff happening. He has an accident at the house. He has a concussion. So I heard a couple of different things that not even just in that back and forth. Jerry, we were trying to Jerry said he knows what's happened and he's fine with the way this thing is played out. But I got the feeling Jerry doesn't necessarily believe whatever story Trayvon's telling. But sometimes you don't have to believe a story. Like if he's going to be available to play in next Sunday's game in Denver, and this thing isn't going to be a lasting thing, then that's okay. Then you just move on. And whatever the story is, Jerry's okay not knowing the full extent of this. What Jerry was hinting at with me is, hey, there's no extenuating circumstances, because what we do in these cases, and we talked about this with Brad Sham the other day, is you go out and you start kind of looking around for, have there been any police reports? How did this guy have an accident? Is his house and he's got a concussion? Something doesn't smell right. This doesn't pass the smell test. This is a world-class athlete. Most of us that aren't world-class athletes don't just walk around the house falling down and getting concussions. So something didn't add up in this instance. And that's why all the questions. That's why I'm pursuing all this with Jerry. But the good news is Jerry was in a great mood because they had won the game. And because, and I'll talk more about this in a minute, okay? We need to take care of our sponsors again here in a second. But Scotty, Jerry wanted it said, while Eberflus, it was a good moment for him, and after a horrific week, and after people suggesting he should be fired, Eberflus's defense played well for 1 week against a lot of backup receivers for the Commanders. All right? I get it. This was not the full tilt. This was not the Commanders at their biggest strength. This was not that. But what Jerry kept coming back to was, boy, Shotty did a great job. Shoppe, because what Jerry wanted to make crystal clear was that Shoppe went in the defensive room, and he interjected himself, and he really poured everything he could into helping, for 1 week at least, Eberflus turn this defense around. And there was blitzing, and there was man coverage, and there was the things that happened in this game that Shoppe, we're begging Dave Aranda to do. Dave, do something different. Where do you have to blitz? Well, he did, by the way, the other day. If we were begging Dave to blitz, if we were begging Dave to stop the run, he didn't do that. But he tried to blitz those corners, I promise you. And what did and like on one of those touchdown throws that TCU made the other day, Reggie Bush is coming on a corner blitz. Baylor has a safety or a linebacker that's supposed to race out there and get whoever's in the flat. They didn't get there in time, and TCU runs the ball right in for another touchdown. All right. I hated Scotty. That's the thing. And again, that was all Cowboys. That was all Cowboys. But let me finish a little TCU thought. I hate seeing those people happy. They're just all in their purple. And they're all so smug anyway. I hate the fact that even though it's a fun rivalry, they now kind of beat us every year. 5 out of the last 6 years. And quite honestly, as great as the Brazos years were, Gary did pretty well against Baylor. Gary was 8-3. I think he was 5-2 once the Frogs were in conference. Gary did pretty well against Art. It's got to change. It's got to change. And it's this fan base right now, it's nothing against the players. Nobody, too many people. When Baylor people get mad, you always get your Baptist, and I'm Baptist, by the way, but you always get that one crew, I can't believe y'all got to support our players. Nobody's trying to rip the players personally. The blame needs to be on the coaching, and the head coach is in charge of the defense, and the defense is an embarrassment, and it continues to be, and it's not getting better. So what changes? Do you change the personnel? Do you change the defensive coordinator? Is there anybody that could call it better? Could you turn that over to somebody? The problem is, and Dave knows this, is the minute he gives the play calling up, and let's say it's even marginally better, you're going to be like, dude, you were not good at this. Like, Dave is coaching for his job, and in order to coach it for his job, he feels like he still needs to be in charge of the defense. So that's not changing. The only thing that needs to change right now is for the offense to get back to what it needs to be. I mean, they weren't good the other day. They scored 36 points, but it was a fake 36. It was a scoop and score and an onside kick at the very end of the game, and it was all chaos. And they scored one of those touchdowns with 30 seconds left in the game. The score was 42-21, and the offense had not been that great. And Sawyer was not very good, and the receivers were not very good, and the running game was not very good. So let's get out of this. Man, both sides of the offense is great. The defense is bad. Both sides of the ball were bad. And the head coach needs to answer for that, and he's trying to. But today his answer was to tell us that Cincinnati is apparently one of the greatest football programs of all time. So let's buckle up. Let's use an old Rico Dowdle term. Let's buckle up, because we got to go to Cincinnati and face a Bearcats team that could be the best in the country. All right, let's finish. I've got a couple of some college things to respond to. I want to bounce off Scotty. That is next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence. the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Drive in the fall at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Huge savings and the best selection in Central Texas. From powerful Ram trucks, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, to adventure-ready Jeeps and stylish new Dodges, we've got the right ride for you. Upgrading, downsizing, or buying your very first vehicle, Allen Samuels has you covered with friendly service and deals that make driving fun. Don't miss the Drive in the Fall event, only at Allen Samuels.
Come by, let's be friends.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor Women's Basketball, we didn't know exactly what that partnership would look like.
What brings you into the bank today?
For the last couple of months, I've been noticing a charge on my account, and I would like to block it.
I see. So you have a charge?
Yes.
And you'd like to block it?
Yes.
I think you should take the charge.
What?
Yeah, I definitely think you should take the charge.
I don't think you understand.
Sometimes you just have to take one for the team.
Is there a manager available?
We love that Coach Collin is all about the team. Once we get the vocabulary down, the sky's the limit.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
I have Mac Rhodes, director of Baylor Athletics, on the phone. Mac, can you tell Peggy why she should take the charge?
Of course she should take the charge. Wait, are you at the bank again? And who is Peggy?
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Mosley to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code MOSLEY. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play-and-get-terms_DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
Welcome back, Mosley Show. Scotty Swingler here. Underdog is not just something we advertise. It's something that I play just about every single day. Wanted to let you know that tonight I've got my picks in for this evening. 2 Monday Night Football picks and a baseball pick, Mosley. I went ahead and took a swing here. Get it? Ernie Clement, Blue Jays, higher than 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. If you've seen me, I've already won twice in the last week on Underdog with at least one baseball pick with this specific pick. When you combine hits and runs and RBIs, there's so many ways you can get to that number. Ernie Clement has done it most of the last 10 games. I think 8 or 9 out of the last 10 games. So I'm taking him on that stat. And then 2 football picks to me that are so easy. Higher than 86.5 receiving yards for Jackson Smith-Njigba. Listen, the Seahawks are playing great football. Jackson Smith-Njigba coming into this weekend was the leading receiver in the NFL. Sam Darnold's playing great. Houston, not a particularly good secondary if you can get past Mr. Petrie at that first level. Jared Goff, higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns against Tampa Bay. I think this game is going to be a bit of a shootout, 2 really electric passing offenses, and Goff is just so efficient there for the Lions. Those are my Underdog picks for tonight. I'll let you know how it goes tomorrow. If you want to pick along with me, maybe you will have a chance to win. And by the way, I did the flex pick option. If you haven't heard about this, If 2 of these are true, I win money. I don't have to get all 3. And then if all 3 are true, I win more money. It's like insurance for your underdog plays. So if you want to play underdog with me, remember, use promo code Mosley. It helps us out. It helps you out. Gets you free bonus cash to play with. We would love to see you join us on Underdog. Come on back in here, Matt Mosley.
Oh, I'd love to be with you. Yeah, thanks for having me. And thank you to Underdog as my camera follows me all around. Underdog, and then all our great sponsors, Central National Bank, Schmaltz's, Allen Samuels. Oh, I was just looking at some of those truck deals. Really? I mean, the APR, the financing on these deals, the 0% for a lot of months. This is really an amazing deal. Some of these, and then we're talking over $10,000 in savings on some of these trucks. So some of those 1500s. Wow, these things are really something. Now, Scotty, I just thought, you know what? We talk about quarterbacks all the time. We talk about Heisman, and I would say right now, I don't have this in front of me. Scotty probably knows off the top of his head, like the Heisman, what Vegas is now saying. If I had to spitball this, though, I would say Fernando Mendoza has probably risen to the top. I would say the Heisman odds are maybe most in his favor. And I think Ty Simpson, the way he's playing at Alabama, I would say he's doing pretty well. And what fascinates me about that is that, like, when you look at, I wanted to look at QBR. Last year when Sawyer was on his incredible run and putting up big numbers, one of the things we like looking at was at ESPN's QBR rankings, and partially because he was so high. It was just like he was the best in the Big 12, and his numbers were great. He and Sam Levitt, and that was fun to look at. And again, I'm not saying this is the only indicator, but I thought there are 2 quarterbacks to me who have undefeated teams and are playing great. I think they're playing great. They're not going to win the Heisman, but I think they're playing really good football. They're not making a lot of mistakes, and they're helping their team win games. One is Bear Bachmeier, who seems to be a neat guy too. He wears 47. That drives me nuts for BYU, but there he was Saturday after a huge win over Utah, and Saturday morning he and his brothers were playing the guitar at a retirement center, and it was just so neat. And they were over there playing all kinds of songs, and one of them wasn't even a church song. It was like I think they were singing "Sweet Caroline." And the old folks, we don't call them that anymore, do we? The seniors they were having the time of their lives. It was awesome, and it was Bachmeier and his brothers. I'm loving this kid. But Bear Bachmeier right now, Scotty, and you love stuff like this too. You like looking at the numbers. 25th in the country in QBR with a 75.9. 25th in the country, and yet his team seems to always find a way to win, and he has a big part of it. The other night, with the game on the line, he had a run where he finished off Utah, and he ran over 4 or 5 dudes. It was incredible. And so there's Bear Bachmeier. And so I wanted to be like, okay, I wonder how Marcel Reed's doing at A&M. They're undefeated. They're number 3 in the country. He's got 2 great receivers. He can run when he needs to. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. I think he's played extremely well this season. I mean, the offense puts up, they had to put up 45 to win the other night in Fayetteville, and he did it. They won 45-42. So in my mind, I'm like, well, surely he'll be, like a top 10 type QBR. Well, number 35 in the country, 72.4. Now, again, he's not that far behind some guys, and so you're probably asking, well, where's the great Sawyer Robertson from Baylor? He's put up big numbers. He did not play well the other day, but he's put up big numbers. His QBR for the season, number 30, 74.4. He's number 30th in the country right now. So that suggests that from an efficiency standpoint, he's not quite as high up there as we thought. So I looked and I thought, okay, these quarterbacks we all think are pretty good. Like, what are their rankings? Well, Mendoza's number 5 in the country. Stockton, who had a great game the other night to help Georgia beat Ole Miss, is number 2 in the country with a 91 QBR. Now, that's way higher than Sawyer's. Diego Pavia, big upset for Vanderbilt, cocky but very fun quarterback. It wasn't an upset. I shouldn't say that because Vanderbilt was favored at home to beat LSU. Diego Pavia, 85.2. He's number 6 in the country. The kid that Baylor will now face one of the greatest teams in college football history, the 2025 Cincinnati Bearcats. I had to start thinking about it, Scotty. I'm like, wait, who's coaching them? It's the same guy. I think it's Scott Satterfield. I had that moment this year where I was like, wait, did they fire their coach? No, they stayed with Satterfield. You know, that's a team that doesn't seem, you know, they were good under Fickle. They haven't been particularly great under Satterfield until this season. Dave Aranda said they blow away all the other teams he's played against. Arizona State with Dillingham, SMU with Lashley. They never lose ACC games. They just went to Death Valley and won. Dave Aranda says Cincinnati's way better. Scotty, without looking, and if you've looked, just fess up here. Where do you think Sorsby is in the country? QBR rating. ESPN QBR numbers. Where do you think the great Brendan Sorsby ranks?
12.
Number 7. Number 7 in the country, 85. The only losing quarterback, because I always like to look and go, who's the one that doesn't, seem like they belong? Like your guy, Haynes King. I know you love this Georgia Tech. You've bandwagoned several teams this year, Scotty. Haynes King, former Aggie, he's number 11 in the country. And then Carson Beck, who just threw some people under the bus, he is number 15 in the country. The guy who used to be at BYU, Retzloff, who's at Tulane now, is number 16 in the country. All right. Now, the number 1 QB, the one that on a losing team that's way up there is Talon Green at Arkansas. He's number 3 in QBR in the country. Wow. He puts up huge numbers, but they just don't win for the Razorbacks. The number 1 QBR in the country, would you care to guess? Number 1 QBR. Big Ten. I'll help you out there. Big Ten.
Is it Dante Moore?
No.
Sayin.
No, although Sayin's number 4 in the country. He's up there.
I don't know.
Maava, USC's
quarterback. Well, that's that Lincoln Riley offense for you, isn't it?
Yeah. So he's number 1. So anyway, all right, we got to say goodbye. Thank you, Brazos Landing. Thank you, Scotty Swingler. Good work today. The Brazos Landing, Scotty and I, especially when the weather has broken. And this morning we had some of that, and it was just, it's good for the soul. I think quiet times are better. I think devotionals. Like I got a Bible study tonight. I think we're doing some Luke. I'm supposed to read something like preparation on the resurrection. Luke, something about Emmaus, something happening with Emmaus, I think. Anyway, I got to look at Luke 24, I think, tonight. But just, I'd love to do an outdoor Bible study somewhere tonight. I think that would be just, hey, can we get on the backyard? Can we get the chairs out the backyard? Is that okay? Or do we all have to gather in here and sit next to people and watch a cartoon video to start? I guarantee you Scotty's seen this. There's these guys that produce these animated Bible things, and they're pretty good. They're well done, but it's always funny to me, a group of grown men looking at some animated Bible characters. It's just as we all gather around. All right. What a day it's been. And that whole first hour, Scotty, wow, a lot of Baylor stuff that we had there to share. Thank you, Brazos Landing. Thank you, CNB, Central National Bank, Schmaltz's, Cherry, Johnson, Siegmund, James, the law firm, just Alan Samuels coming through in a big way, and more to come. This show seems to be very sponsor friendly, so we're appreciative of that. And then also the folks that are part of our Green and Gold Game Day. We took a major step this week, adding our roadshow satellite truck. It was a pretty neat deal that we had, so we're very proud of that. Thank you, Scotty. Good work. And thank you to the Rogue Media Network. We will see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock straight up. Good night, everybody.
Guys, there is a sleeping giant in this conference that nobody is talking about except Pete Souza. By the way, we talk about it almost every week on the Pete Souza show. So much so it drives me crazy, but I think Pete's right. When we're talking about Big 12 contenders, Iowa State comes to a lot of people's mind right now, Texas Tech, NIL. Y'all, the Cougars, not from South Texas, but from Utah, the BYU Cougars are undefeated, number 25 in the country. They will likely roll tonight in Boulder. I'd be shocked if they don't just steamroll the Buffaloes, to be honest with you. And they've got a freshman quarterback named Bear Bachmeier who wears the number 47, which is a crime against humanity. But that kid is good. And I know they've not played an outstanding opponent yet, but I got to tell you, why with that head coach and with the talent at quarterback that is clear, why are more of us not talking about this school as a threat to win the conference?
I'll tell you exactly why.
Tell him why.
Pete Souza is compromised on that team.